also say, just from in terms of Judaism, and something else I love about focusing on voting is democracy obviously is under attack, and we're seeing authoritarian rule rise throughout the world, and including in both the United States and Israel. We have a real democratic crisis and people who are trying to destroy democracy. And at the same time, not coincidentally, we also have a rise in anti-Semitism around the world, including in the United States. And it's just very clear that the disintegration of democracy makes the world less safe for Jews and other minorities. That when we have authoritarian systems, those are not going to work out well for any minority. And Jews, of course, have suffered greatly under authoritarian systems in the past. It's also something we've learned from some recent polling, or a recent survey that was done by the ADL, is that, not surprisingly, people who are likely to believe conspiracy theories about Jews are likely to believe conspiracy theories about everything. They're likely to believe general conspiracy theories, including conspiracy theories like that the 2020 election was stolen.
There are groups that are taking this issue, both of voter rights versus voter suppression, but also of what people are allowed to know, and they're taking it into school board elections. So a place that even some of the most, I remember when I first got involved in elected office, which was before most people on the screen were born, but I ran for school board on the West Side, and because I grew up on the West Side, my first target for voting was to encourage all my parents' friends to come vote. And these were like seasoned voters, they would have no problem with Dana's piece of art. Of course, voting makes a difference. But they had the position that since they didn't have children in the public schools, they shouldn't vote in the school board elections. And the school board elections, even then, were being used and manipulated by various groups for their own purposes. And now, fast forward 40 or 50 years, there is a targeted effort, spurred on initially in Virginia, but spreading all over the country, to tell people that, where it matters is what your children get taught, and you should support the effort that says your children don't get taught anything about oppression, about efforts against democracy. And it's like, if you don't know, you won't be able to move. And so the power of voting comes again around full circle to say, like, people need to look at every election and look at the places where their rights are being threatened, and where the future, literally, of the children and grandchildren who will end up taking on this democracy, they are being shaped by what's being taught. And people who want them not to learn are, casting a long shadow over our democracy.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with people in the Jewish community who will say, well, my kids go to day school. What do I care about the public schools? And like, okay, your kids aren't there, but what about your neighbors and your kids' future colleagues and teachers and the police officers and like your elected official, and right on and on and on. Like, the people in your community go to these public schools. And so we all have a stake in what's taught or not taught there.
I'm seeing that firsthand in my small town up here, where there's a generational and political divide over funding the local schools, and essentially the divide. They voted down the school budget, which affects my kids directly and takes away from her music classes, her drama classes, the things that she's excited in. I mean, we're talking little kids, but this goes all the way up, and what they learn in terms of their science and historical teachings and cuts and stuff. But yeah, it's crazy. It's really sad to see it, but it also, again, points out the power that individuals have, not only in presidential elections, but especially on the local level.